Hello everybody and welcome back to Nerdy Miniatures. In today's video we are going to be painting the Warhammer Mini of the month. In this case it's the Hashut Infernal Cohort, but I did this in a metallic theme. So if you want to see how I did it, then just keep on watching. So let's begin with who the Infernal Cohort are. Largely drawn from Royal Blooded Zardron, the Infernal Cohorts have chosen their wages of toil by going to war for their ziggurat, instead of labouring in the heat of the forges. They are clad in fine armour and rich cloths, and armed with cruel spears and blades. They march in lockstep and bring desolation to the realms. Since this seems to be a week of me trying new things as far as how I paint, I decided to go ahead and use a metallic theme for this figure, inspired by the TGA community, also known as the Age of Sigmar community, where I found some Photoshop art paintings of the Helmsmiths of Hashut in various colours of the different worlds in Age of Sigmar. I was especially drawn to that of Gyron and Shaman, so I mixed these two together to create this figure for today's video. Let's begin with how I painted this figure. Starting with Leadbelcher, I covered his chainmail in this colour. I would later go in afterwards with a camo mix with green and metallics, just because I preferred how it looked, but to be honest the silver did still look pretty cool. Next I went in with Lothern Blue. I applied this to his helmet and to his shield. This would be a base, so I would later go in with a metallic blue mix, mostly because I found it too bright, but it is still a very nice colour, and if I'd gone for a non-metallic look I would have 100% gone for this. Next it was time to go in to colour the cloth around his waist. For this I used Caliban Green. I absolutely loved this forest green colour and I wanted to incorporate it somewhere, so I did this on the cloth around his waist, as it still feels quite rich and luxurious, matching the character's lore. Once that was done, it was time to move on to his skin. For this I mixed Bugman Glow and Kislev Flesh. This has quickly become my favourite combination for painting skin, as it adds the right amount of pink and warmth without making them look too yellow or ghostly. Now it was time to move on to one of the fun steps. I used the technical paint Soulstone Blue, and I applied this to the shield. When this paint dries, it turns into a jewel tone, so it kind of makes everything look a little bit more metallic as well. So I applied this to the shield, and I later went in on a few different spots right at the end, just to kind of incorporate this colour a bit more, as I enjoyed the brightness that it added to the figure. Whilst that dried, I moved on to Retributor Armour, which is that lovely gold shade that I always use, my tried and true. For this, I applied it to his armour and I applied it to the outer edges of his shield, as well as later on, off camera, I also applied this to the staff of his spear. Now it was time to make that green camo shade I was talking about. For this I used Creed Camo and Leadbelcher, just to create the desired look I was going for, and I applied this over the silver parts, and I later went in all over the rest of the armour in the end, just because I really liked how it looked that much. I also applied this to the staff section of his spear as well. Now Now it's time to move on to his facial hair. For this I used white scar and I applied 2 coats, just to make sure it was evenly covered. Now doing that metallic blue I was talking about. For this I mixed lead belcher and Lothern blue, the same blue I used earlier, just to create a light blue silver metallic, and I applied this to his feet and to his helmet, as well as his spear. Going back in with that soulstone blue, I went in and painted a few jewels and added a few extra pieces to the figure. Off camera, I did end up going in over the blue that I applied to his beard with gold, just because I preferred how it looked, and I also went in with bright clan flesh shade all over the figure just to shade the figure, just to finish him off. That'll be it for today's video. Down in the description you will find 2 links. The first to Mr. Nerd's channel. So if you enjoy MMOs and action RPGs, then please feel free to have a look at that. And if you enjoy Warhammer lore, which if you're watching this, I can probably assume you do, then you might want to check out my channel, One Nerd to Rule Them All, where I cover just that, along with Tolkien lore, and a few other pieces of fantasy dropped in along the way. Anyway, that'll be it from me today. Have a wonderful day, or night, wherever you are in the world. And as always, bye for now, guys.